Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Ninjago video. I know I'm a bit late. These episodes were released a little over a week ago, but I still did want to make a video about this because for Dragons Wrestling, I've made a video for most of the seasons. I know we haven't had much, but every half I've made a video. I think ever since season 1, I believe. So I've been like, well, whatever. I'll do this. So for Dragons Rising season 2 part 2. I want to talk about that quite a lot because this actually might be my new favorite season, making season 2 my favorite season. Now, as for the first half when I made my video, I do believe that I said that it just didn't feel the same. And although that is true, this half alone is like, I think this is peak Ninjago. I know that people would say the only trilogy is, and it's really good. But after this came out, I'm like, no, this is peak. Like, this is great. The action is great. The concept is great. The voice acting is great. The whole story makes sense. The more we see the Dragons Rising, just its stories unfold, the more amazing it really is to me. And I don't know, I just love it. So I want to talk about some characters, some things I noticed, some theories and whatnot. So first theory I want to talk about was when we see Lord Raz fight Noct, there is a theory that he has an elemental power, which is interesting. I don't know that I believe that, but there is some evidence proving that. Number one, from the book of Shatterspin, the comic book for that. Now I didn't read it. I just heard this on the internet. But it is claimed, I guess, that anyone who uses the Gong of Shattering, um, they are like terribly mutated when they use it. But that is the one problem with it is that they have to use Shatterspin. Supposedly, I don't know if anything's confirmed about that. So Lord Raz using it, you'd think, oh, that would terribly mutate him. You'd think because well, he uses it but he stays the same. He looks fine. But then again, he doesn't actually use Shatter Spin, so there's really no way to know. But yeah, you got to be an Elemental Master to do that. To use the Gong of Shattering, only Elemental Masters can perform Shatter Spin like that without being terribly mutated. So we're not really sure about that, but that's one thing that could back up him having elemental power, being that he can use the Gong of Shattering without being like punished by it. Um, but if he does have an elemental power, a lot of people have been saying it's death, considering he could be the opposite of Lloyd entirely, who in this season it's stated that his power is life, which is interesting because his power doesn't really, help anything live. If not, it really more hurts people and things, really. So I don't entirely understand it, but he'll probably, I'm assuming, unlock some new abilities. But he's got that, so that makes sense. But what I think is more likely is his elemental power being rage. Now I know that doesn't make sense. That's an emotion. But life is weird. It isn't an emotion, but it's a weird power. And when we think about it, if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense to me because rage, well, if you think about it, the swords that the Wolfmask Warriors use, are called rage blades. We learned this from some concept art a little bit back. When I don't, it wasn't when the sets were released, but those Lego pieces for their swords, those are called rage blades, and those are red, just like his stripes on his body. The pink turned to red when he got super angry. So it would make a lot of sense for his power to be rage, just making him stronger. He talks about strength a lot. Most likely I don't want him to, and I don't think he does have an elemental power personally. I really don't want him to anyways. But it's not impossible. It's not out of the question. And if he has one, I'm calling it. I'm gonna say I think that it might be rage. So that's a theory that was stated. Some characters I want to talk about. Obviously, first of all, as a Kai fan, Kai, I love his entrance. His return was epic. Um, and I'm glad he came on his own because if he jumped out with Bonzel and did that pose, it would have been so weird. But yeah, and she jumped out after him, I think. But his return is awesome. He just goes fighting, without even knowing that Noct has most other elemental powers. He doesn't have fire, obviously, and there are probably some out there who may not have gone to the tournament. He doesn't have creation and destruction. If those powers still exist, obviously those could have been destroyed, I guess, in the merge or something like that. But most likely, just somewhere out there that nobody knows about. And there's that. But yeah, I would say his return is top-notch action. Great love. Again, great voice acting. I think it's just great overall. Speaking of Noct, not much to say about him. He didn't have much character in this season. It was kind of weird. But he was good at fighting, I guess, is the most really I have to say about the guy. Another theory was that one of or all the rest of the Forbidden Five would be in Jordana's body. Theory confirmed it was rocks. That's pretty cool, I'd say. Kind of weird, but I mean, it's true. People were theorizing about it, and they were right, sort of. So yeah, there's that. One thing I do want to see from season 3, the sets, is seeing the Forbidden Five get figures. I understand why they might not do it, is because, well, mainly because some of the hats are weird, but if we could get those figures, oh man, I would want to collect those so bad. I don't know if I would because they'd probably be really expensive to get, but I would try so hard. I would want to get those figures because my gosh, they are crazy figures. We've only seen two of their faces, and especially Rox is just wild, wild design. I would say with that orange skin and the mask with the teeth, it's crazy. But yeah, like I said, just talking about that stuff. Wu starting the merge or causing the merge. I think Arin, although it does set him up for a great character arc, which I'll talk about as well in this video probably really quickly, but really briefly, because I want to cover this all briefly, but I would say his logic behind Wu causing the merge, I think we kind of knew this ever since the beginning of the show, because he knew it was coming. Obviously, he didn't cause it purposefully. Like, why would he? Cole was surprised. So why would Arin leave them because of that? I understand him losing his hope in them, but what does that have to do anything with the ninja? They didn't expect it either. They are not Wu. So I don't quite get that. But speaking of Arin, I think this is set up for a great arc because a YouTuber called Bendo Bricks, if you don't watch him, go watch his channel, but one of his videos was on Arin, and and his arc in the season, and I'm just like, it makes a lot of sense. So what he covered was pretty much basically that we expect him as a hero in the first season, and we see Sora progressing in her training as a ninja, her elemental powers, and Arin does not get any. He does not progress at all. So we're expecting to get a big payoff moment where he becomes the hero and saves everyone, and that's what we all thought. But right now, we're really seeing the formation of a villain, which is interesting. It's very different. Um, Now, most likely, he won't stay on Raz's side, most likely. But if he does, I actually wouldn't mind that. I think that'd be really cool. So just seeing this, it's crazy that they snuck in there, and we can see that this was planned from the beginning. This isn't a thing that was thrown in later, like Zane's sacrifice and rebooted. That wasn't planned from the beginning of the show. This was very clearly laid out and planned from the beginning of Dragons Rising. And that's the thing that makes Dragons Rising so great, is that like the in Masters of Spinjitzu, sure, it's a great show, but all the seasons are separate stories. In Dragons Rising, this is all building up to one big story, and that's what's so great about it. They're spreading it over seasons, and they're adding in different concepts in between it, but it's all building up to one big arc. We don't know what that is yet, but it's very cool. They've been building on it and what the future would be, and it's just super cool. So I like how they're laying the foundations for a future huge story that I think will be awesome. But yeah, that's that. Source Dragon Motion, I thought she might be a villain. She was not. She was not Raz's master. I was pretty convinced she would be. So that was I'm kind of glad she wasn't. But that was interesting. But yeah, story-wise, this season is great. I think another thing the season did great was side characters. Someone like Frack is one of the best side characters of the entire franchise, in my opinion. I think he's great. He didn't get a lot of lines, but I think Frack overall has a great I don't know if I call it an arc because we don't get much from him, like not really a character arc, but just him not listening, like refusing Lord Raz's command to like perform Shatter Spin was pretty awesome in my opinion. I really liked that moment where he's like no, because Aaron told him that he would lose all of his quote unquote goodness, whatever that means. But I like that. And coming on from Raz's team, another member, Jay. I want to see where he's going, but I was a little bit disappointed. So we know that in the next season, most likely, at least Nia and Kai will be branching off from the rest of the team to follow and find Jay. Hopefully, they'll find him, can remind him of the past and bring him onto their team. But because obviously, if this is going to be anything like Masters of Spinjitzu, they'll find some way using emotions to bring him back because that's what they do. That's what Masters of Spinjitzu did. Now, this obviously is a very different show, in my opinion, better actually. From the first few seasons, I didn't like it as much, but now that we have more laid out, I actually can appreciate it more. Same goes for a show like The Rings of Power. The first season, I didn't care for it because it didn't make sense. I didn't know what was happening. But rewatching it after knowing what the finale was, everything sort of makes sense. The same goes for Dragons Rising. First season didn't make a whole lot of sense. Just thought, oh, hey, here are some new characters they're trying to add in to take over the ninja spots. But now the more I see, the more I can appreciate the previous seasons because I can see what they were building up to. And it's really awesome. And that's just what Dragons Rising, that's what's so great about Dragons Rising as a show. So yeah, I gotta say, it's just a great show. And this season so far is my favorite part of it, I gotta say. Um, yeah, so like in characters, other characters besides Frack, I want to say Ronaldo so bad. Rapton, yes, Ronaldo is not a villain. Anyways, Rapton returning, his return in the season was very short lived and kind of dumb, but at the same time, I appreciate that he didn't just show up in the first season and then left. Because in a show like Masters of Spinjitzu, he would have been some side villain and never returned. He actually does have a character arc, whether it's more comedic change and stuff like that. He still gets to still be there and have more character. They're not just ditching him off like a show like Masters of Spinjitzu would have. So I really appreciate that. I like that quite a lot, I must say. Um, but yeah, I didn't exactly say everything I want to say about Evil Jay. I kind of forgot about that. But Jay, um, I wanted to see a lot more of him. I wanted to see him get at least 2 fights, and show up, maybe have some dialogue with the team of the ninja. We really didn't get that, and that was disappointing. But I get that maybe the writers are waiting to reveal something really big about Jay. But yeah, overall, that's the only other thing I really had to say about Jay in this season, or this half of the season, I should say. Um, but yeah, like I don't know. Jay, I wanted to see some more because we have barely gotten anything. If you added up his screen time in the past like 2 seasons, he probably has under probably under 6 minutes. I'm gonna guess. It could be more, but previously he had like 2 lines in season 1, and I don't remember exactly what he had in season 2, part 1, but it was not a lot, and it's just sad. Allow me to grab a refreshment. I got some tea in here with me. But yeah, mm, that's great. All right, sorry. I knew I was gonna be talking a lot. I knew I wanted something to make my throat less dry because talking obviously makes your throat dry. I've learned this from previous videos. So I just gotta say this. It's great. And I do want to get some of these sets, but at the same time, I'm gonna play it smart here. If I want something out more than anything else, it's these figures because they're the great parts of this season's sets. So what I'm gonna try to go is go to places like Bricklink and the Pick a Brick website, because although it does take an, I quote, like this is a fact, it takes the Pick a Brick website 40 days to deliver an order. I'm not joking. That's over a month. So it's nuts, but I don't care. So what I'm going to try to do is order Evil J and Lord Raz at least, because you can get most of their pieces. The only piece of Evil J you can't get, I believe, is his head, which very common piece. It's not a new head piece, which is disappointing because we could have gotten some red eyes for him, some shatter spin eyes, but whatever. Also, I'd like to get Cinder and Jordana. So since I have all the Raz figures and the other Cinder figure and the other Jordana, I'd like to collect all of them. So hopefully I can get those figures, all villains, obviously. And then I want to get Climber Cole, which is an old figure, but just to inform you, I found it online for like $12. Very interested. And then I'll complete all of the show accurate figures for the Climber collection. And then Mech Pilots. Not my favorite suits, but I still want to complete them because then I'll have all Dragons Rising suits up to the tournament suits. And I don't know what to do about the tournament ones because some of them, like Arin, are just really hard to get. But we will see about that. I will inform you whenever I get a collection complete. But yes, I do have all of season 1 suits at least. Um, Besides that, any other concepts in the show I would like to talk about? Gotta say, Roby, another theory. Roby being Wildfire's boyfriend was correct, kind of. They most likely will stay in touch because they have easy access through the portal door things from the monasteries. I gotta say, is there anything else I really want to talk about? I'm thinking here, like Blucked. interesting, but like pretty predictable. I'm not gonna lie. They made it clear there was something up with him. But yeah, so honestly, I think that's all the big things I want to say about the season. It does replace season 8 as my favorite season, and I'm talking about all of season 2 because it's not like the first half was bad. It just wasn't like my favorite. But like I said, now that I've seen what it's building up to, great. And I'm just excited to see what season 3 has for us. Like I said, I want to see Jay return. Whether he's on the team or not, I really don't care because he did shatter, again, quote unquote, shatter his goodness. So yeah, I think that's it. If you guys know this video, please like it. It really helps the channel. Comment if you have any opinions on the season as well that you would like to share. And subscribe to the channel if you enjoy my videos and you have not already. Thank you guys again so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Peace.